All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the community conversation brought to you by Prototype Training Systems, home of CrossFit Prototype. The community conversation highlights a different member of the Prototype community each week and allows them to tell their story, share their life experience, and communicate their perspective on all things fitness. We've all listened to podcasts and watched YouTube videos that highlight some of the world's greatest leaders and visionaries. And we believe we have some amazing people here at Prototype, and we want you to get to know them. So to that end, for our 19th episode of the community conversation, I'd like to welcome our fellow Prototype member, Marissa Papazian. If you're listening, you probably know Marissa or have seen her crushing it on WODIFY whiteboard. Marissa has been part of the Prototype community since 2015. And during that time, she's added two little ones to her family, training through both their pregnancies with Colin and her most recent addition, Ben. I'm sure Mia is happy being a big sister to both Colin and Ben. In addition to her tenure as a CrossFitter and her training through pregnancy, Marissa has been one of the most dedicated members we've ever had at Prototype. She's part of our 1,000-watt milestone club. She's won multiple community awards, and she's continued to train virtually during COVID. And has just now recently got back into the gym. So Marissa, thank you for being on the community conversation today.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction. Wow.
I try, but why don't we get things started? Why don't you just get a little bit into your background? How did you get into CrossFit? I know you were going to a gym before and you moved, I think, into the area before you found Prototype. Why don't you talk a little bit about your journey, how you found CrossFit? How did you get into it? How did you get into Prototype? All that sort of stuff.
Sure. When I was a kid, I was always just active. I played some sports, but it wasn't really that good at anything. I played hockey in high school, and then after college, just kind of ran to stay in shape and never lifted a single thing in my life. And as I was getting close to 30, I was feeling like I needed something different. And one of my friends from college, she had tried CrossFit and she was like not a typical CrossFitter at all. And she was like, I think you'll love it. So I was visiting her and tried out a class in New York. And I was like, this might be cool. So I was living in Cambridge at the time and hopped into Commonwealth CrossFit in Cambridge, Somerville line. Started there and was only there a short time. We moved down to Dedham and I joined a CrossFit there from 2012 to 2015. And then we moved to Westboro and I found Prototype. And it was just a close by gym and I walked in and everybody was super welcoming and I just kind of gone from there.
You said that you weren't good at sports in high school. I find that so hard to believe because you're an incredible athlete. And you said you were a hockey player. I didn't know that. So like ice hockey, or is there like women's, like mixed, like men's, women's, like what was that?
I only played with girls. When I was a kid, I started skating at like 3 or 4. My dad played like men's league hockey when I was a kid, and I would be like sleeping in the benches. He had 10 p.m. ice times and stuff. So I got started skating young, and then by the time I got to high school, I was like, I want to try hockey. So I played, and I was fine. I was not very good, but I think I grew up in like a blended family, 5 kids. I feel like we weren't really pushed to do anything. So I didn't really feel like I needed to push that hard. And I was like not a very much of a risk taker. So I just kind of was like hard to push out of my comfort zone. So now, looking back now, I feel I love CrossFit so much. And I wish that it was around and that I'd found it younger because it would have been cool to try to be somewhat competitive at some point.
So you didn't really push yourself outside your comfort zone, you said when you were younger, but you clearly do that now. How do you know, like when did that change or how did that change?
I don't know. I think something about CrossFit just brought it out in me. I enjoy pushing myself and I love just the feeling of there's just always so many things you can get better at. And for me, it's so much fun just to continue to see strength build. And I don't know, I've had to go back so many times to, my strength and my everything has gotten a little bit worse because I've had babies and surgeries and things. And it's just fun to be able to build back and see how much stronger I can get, or at least get back to where I was at some point.
You've been CrossFitting for over 10 years, right?
Almost, yeah.
And
Yeah.
through those 10 years, had 3 kids, like you mentioned, there's like surgery, but you kept coming back, you kept up with it, you trained through pregnancies and that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know, well, there's been a multitude of women that have come in and have worked out through their entire pregnancy, but you've worked out literally to like the day of, basically. And when it comes to like exercise, especially doing like high intensity exercise or CrossFit, weightlifting and stuff like that, the old school of thought was, well, don't exercise. It's, dangerous, and it's certainly not the case, but there are things, obviously, things you can't do as you go through the trimesters, and you definitely know that. So for like the folks that are listening that maybe are thinking about having a baby, or maybe they are pregnant or something like that, can you talk about your journey and as it relates to training through pregnancy, and what you did, and how you kept up with that?
Yeah. So with my first pregnancy, I had been CrossFitting for 2 years at that point or something like that. And you hear about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I would Google, try to figure out what I should do or not. So I was definitely more cautious in my first pregnancy. But I still, for the most part, kept up, I was still lifting and still doing most things. And by the time I got pregnant with Colin, I was like, I think that I was fine and I can push myself a little bit more. And, your breathing is a little bit different. So that kind of limits you in a way. And I would just always stop and make sure that I can comfortably breathe. But otherwise, I feel there's not much that you really need to limit. I was doing handstands. That was fine. Some people aren't comfortable with that. And I think it's kind of up to the person what they're comfortable with. And what I also think is, if something doesn't feel comfortable one day when you're pregnant, it doesn't mean that for the rest of however long you have in the pregnancy, you need to stop doing that. Because there were times that my belly would feel kind of funny when I was rowing, but then I would try it a few days later and it was fine. So I think it's completely up to the person. Obviously, I'm not giving anybody your medical advice, but I would always ask my doctor, and they would just say, as long as it feels okay, you can keep doing it. And I really did work out till the day I had all of my babies, and they're all healthy and they're fine. And I felt great. Working out is my sanity. I do it because I want to be strong and I like to, feel like I'm physically fit, but it's more for my sanity than anything else. And I think it's totally fine for people to do all through their pregnancy if it's comfortable.
That's awesome. And your kids are all pretty much acclimated to loud music. I remember being in the gym. I forget at this point if it was, I think it was Colin, and he would just like sleep through the class. The music would just be going like, just like out, they used to it.
Definitely. Yeah. My kids, Mia too, at my old gym, I would bring her in the stroller and the barbells clanging on the ground. She didn't move.
It's like white noise.
Yep.
uh, so since you've been doing this so long in terms of like CrossFitting, and obviously the gym we opened in 2012. So some of the folks that are coming to our gym haven't been doing this that long. Especially some like new folks that are just getting into CrossFit. You kind of got into it, before it became what it is today. Do you mind talking through your day one experience? Like, do you remember what your first workout was? Like, what was it that got you hooked? You mentioned that you do it for like as much for your health and fitness and strength, but also for like your sanity. Like talk a little bit about that, because I'm right there with you. I mean, I work out because it makes the thing between my ears feel better, not just from a strength or aesthetic perspective.
Yeah. I don't really remember my first workout. I remember doing the workout with my friend in New York, and I just remember there were pull-ups and they had a black band that was, I mean, it could like launch you into the sky. It was such a big band. And that's really all I remember from it. But I was like, this is kind of cool. And then my first workout at Commonwealth CrossFit, I don't remember what it was, but I remember leaving and being like, that lasted like 8 minutes. Was that anything? Did I even get a workout in? But I went back and obviously I'm still here. So something got me hooked. But mentally, I mean, my God, I've been through so much since 2012, between having babies, surgeries, just going through, I got engaged early on when I started, and I was planning a wedding through some tough family stuff. My brother-in-law had gotten sick, and that just, things like that you use fitness to just get you through mentally. Like I would just do a workout, maybe cry after, and then like just feel so much better, having done something for myself during a time where there was so much personally going on. But day to day, I mean, just having been, he's 6 months old now, and he cried for the first 4 months that he was alive, which was, again, really, really hard mentally. And I was in a tough place mentally, but I would just go into the garage. I would do the workout whenever he would sleep, even if it was for like 20 minutes. I'm like straight to the garage, do a workout, and at least like that was something I could do for myself. So I'm so thankful to have had that, because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. Thankfully we're through that, and I'm able to get back in the gym a bit. So it's been a lot better, but every day it's for my mental health.
I can't understand, obviously, but I understand the impact that it has on your brain, because some days you're just in a fog, you're not feeling good, and all of a sudden it's like, it's the best medicine, isn't it? I mean,
It really is.
Like you get it in, you get it done, there's a level of accomplishment, but also blood's flowing, endorphins are going, and your brain's just like, listen, like you're gonna be fine, right? Like you're gonna get through whatever it is. Like life's not easy. You're gonna get through this shit. Excuse me for swearing. I think this is like a kid-friendly thing, but you'll get through it. And then it allows you to kind of just take a step back, and then, realize that you can keep progressing and moving forward just day to day at a time. Right.
Definitely.
I respect that so much. God, I didn't know that he would like cry all the time for 4 months, and you had these windows of 20 minutes, and you would just go out and like how, like, I'm just like thinking about what you just said. So many people would not do that. They would lay down or just relax, or just like, maybe have a drink, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like not take the 20 minutes to go out in their garage. Like that's incredible.
I would rather, I don't know, something about the feeling of working out is just better for me than anything else. Like if I just, to me, I'm like, if I lay down and go to sleep, I'm still gonna be tired in 20 minutes when he wakes up, but I'll feel so much better if I'm moving my body, and like, and it helps your mind too.
So even though you didn't remember your first CrossFit workout, which is I feel like that's like every CrossFitter like remembers their first workout, but you don't remember yours. It's okay. But you remember the black band that shoots you up towards the ceiling.
Yeah.
Are any, like any workouts, because you've been doing this so long, what are the ones that stick out to you? Maybe your favorite or the hardest, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to hear from your perspective, because you've been doing this for so long. I don't think you've seen everything.
I mean, workouts I love are partner workouts. I love being able to work out with somebody, and I don't know, it's just more fun with somebody else. I don't know if I can think of like a specific one that's super hard. I mean, I love doing the hero workouts. They're just a different level, and a little bit heavier, a little bit, just push yourself a little bit more than on a normal day. But I think partner ones, I think I like that part too. You get a little bit of rest, hopefully, and gives you a little bit more to push yourself when it's your turn.
Yeah, the rest is fun.
Yeah.
Not
Everybody
working
loves
for
some
the
rest.
full amount of time by yourself, and you're in your own head and just grinding it out.
Yeah.
Benchmark workouts. can certainly be a grind. We did one. We did Cindy on Tuesday, and Murph is coming up. Are you going to be doing Murph?
I don't know. I depends on what's going on at home. Cindy and Murph are, well, Cindy is not my favorite. It's just there's not enough variety for me.
The three movements, low volume, and just kind of moving and moving. It's hard. I think the hardest thing about Cindy is keeping track
Yeah.
of the rounds. All right. So we've talked about like your journey through like pregnancy. We talked about like your fitness journey and starting, again, like 10 years. Like, do you want to talk anything about like, for folks that are just getting into CrossFit, like what would be like your advice to some of those people? Cause again, you've gone through a lot of stuff and you've literally stuck to it. Like for the folks that might feel discouraged at times, or they might not be the type of people that take those 20 minutes that they have to go and do a workout to feel better. Do you have any like advice for them or some insight from like what you've learned over the last 10 years or so?
Well, I always tell people, I mean, CrossFit is for anybody. You don't have to have, I never lifted a single thing in my life over CrossFit. So it's so scalable for anybody. I think that's huge. My mother-in-law talks about how she needs to get stronger in her older age, and, come to CrossFit, it's not as scary, especially I think at Prototype. It's such a wide range of ages, where I think in the past it was younger people, it felt like, were doing CrossFit, but at Prototype we have some young people. We've got, the teenagers, but you've got older people doing it too, and everybody crushes it, but everybody can also scale it. And I think that's so important, and means you can do it forever. I don't know.
Fitness for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So your advice is basically just jump in, just do it.
Yeah. There's no reason, there's nothing that should be stopping anybody. It might seem scary because people are, lifting barbells, and maybe you've never done that before, but there are so many places that people start. Like I've always said to new people, like we all started somewhere, and most of us started at the very beginning, and it just takes time and consistency, and my taking those 20 minutes to go work out, like maybe that's my weird brain, and a lot of people aren't like that, but everybody knows that at the end of a workout, they feel so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a saying, we meet you where you are and take you where you want to go.
Yeah.
Which so true. It's so true. Sometimes just overcoming the fear. But as you might know, the things that scare us are typically the things that we probably should be doing. Well, most of them, unless you're doing like crazy stuff. All right. So, Marissa, I'm going to hit you with the spitfire round here on these three questions. I say this every single time we do one of these community conversations, that I need to change these questions because everyone knows that they're coming now. It's not like random. So you probably had time to prep, but first one is, what is your favorite TV show and movie of all time? And then also adding on to that, if you're watching any show right now, what's the current show or series that you're binge watching?
Well, I'm not like a big movie watcher. I feel like in my current life, I don't have time for much of movies or TV, especially because I'm trying to get up for the 5 a.m. gym class. But for me, it's not like people are like Shawshank, all these like intense movies. Elf, it's my favorite of all time.
That's a great
movie. Dan will always say, like, if it's on, he has to put it on for me. I just like funny. You don't need to think. It's just hilarious. I made my kids listen to a part of it the other day because it's just so funny.
Such a great movie.
Yeah. TV show. Karen Burton said Friends, and I was like, I think I might have to agree on Friends. Like, again, sometimes I just need like mindless humor, and that's one I'll always watch. And I am not binge watching anything right now. I'm watching my children going to sleep, and then me having like 20 minutes before it's time for bed.
You're not doing a workout before you go to bed, though.
No.
No, you won't be able to sleep. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that's typically why you're probably a morning workout person. If I work, me personally, if I work out in the afternoon, or I think after 5 o'clock, I don't sleep as well. That's like the time that I
That's like
found.
drinking coffee too late.
It's like, yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's like drinking coffee too late. That's why
Yeah.
like the 24 Heroes, like it was okay because you're like, oh, it's like almost like you're just getting a Red Bull every hour on the hour is how
That's
I felt.
funny. Yeah, I haven't done a nighttime workout in a long time. Only Friday night lights a couple times, but
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
All right. So next question is, what is your favorite musician or band or artist of all time?
I am like a hip hop type. Was like what I'm really into. Um, Lauren Hill, old school. I really love her music.
That's awesome. What was the she was what was the band? Now I'm forgetting.
The
Fugees.
Fugees. Yeah.
Fugees. It's like the score, right? It's like one of the best
Yeah.
albums of all time.
Yeah.
Um that's a great one. Haven't heard that one yet. Okay. And then last question is, what is your favorite thing to do? I guess hobby. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working or working out at the gym?
Right now, it's being with my kids and just getting outside, doing anything with them. I mean, during quarantine times, we're like going for bike rides, scooting, just going out, hikes, walks, whatever it is. That's kind of all we've got going on right now.
Do you have any good stories with the kids so far, especially since adding a little Ben to the family? Any funny stories with all the kids? How is and by the way, how is Colin and Mia with the little one?
They're awesome. They are like all over him all the time. So I can like get up in the morning, go feed him. After I'm done, they will like be on top of him on the floor. So I can like take a shower, get ready for work, whatever I need. They're awesome. I don't know that I have any good stories off the top of my head, but they're just super cute with him. They are like so excited to do anything. When he does anything, they're like, "Mommy, I just rolled over," you know. So they're both really cute, making like the goofy faces that adults do in his face. So it's cute.
That's awesome. You're training them to be babysitters already.
Yep. And training
Well
them to
done.
work out too, because we are Saturdays we've been doing workouts in the driveway and they're like
Oh, that's
they're all into
great.
it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome.
Oh, that's so great. The Mia
Yeah.
jumping on the big box yet?
She's trying. Yeah. And Colin is too. And then he gets on top and he's scared to jump down because it's like his height.
It's his height. I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
like doing like a she's like a well, I'm taller than the 70-inch box jump for me. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
happening. Well, Marissa, I really appreciate you being on the community conversation today. It means so much to me and everyone at Prototype. And then for all of you that are listening, thank you for tuning in and watching. Remember, every week we release a new community conversation with a new guest to get your week started. To be the first to know when the new community conversation is posted, subscribe to our YouTube page. We're on Spotify, or get on our daily brief newsletter. These videos are also posted in our community members only group on Facebook. So if you're a member at Prototype and you're not in that group, just let us know and we'll get you in. Then lastly, if you're interested in being on the community conversation, just shoot us a message and we would love to have you. So until next time, thanks, Marissa.
Thank you.